Hi, this is TiffanieTravels, where we help women and families travel, build wealth, and live richer. So, on my channel, you'll find travel vlogs from around the world, as well as videos for financial independence. After I achieved a net worth of $650,000, I decided it was time to help other women do the same. Nothing would give me more joy and nothing would make me happier than to hear from women who are saving and investing $10,000 while visiting 10 countries. So, if that sounds interesting to you, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. And today we're going to be talking about how to plan for a career break. I'm going on career break this summer. I'm taking really 2 months off. I'm spending a month in Europe and then I'm spending a month at home. So I wanted to share some of the things that you can do to plan for a career break. And one of the first things that you need to do is think about your bills at home. So, how can you reduce your bills at home? So, things like your housing. Can you rent out a room to lower your housing costs? Can you sublease if you have an apartment? Can you sublease your apartment? Or if you own your own home, can you Airbnb or do some kind of short term rental like VRBO? Do some short-term rental so that you're not paying your housing bills while you are on your career break. So we have things like short-term rentals, sublease, roommates, all of those things can potentially reduce your housing or your living expenses, your bills in your home country while you're away. Another thing that people think about is their car. So you don't want to be paying your car payments if you don't have to while you're on your career break. So some people they sell their car and then get a new car when they come back. Or there's also car rentals. I think there's one called Turo. It's like Airbnb, where Airbnb is you can rent out your home. You have Turo allows you to rent out your car. So while you're abroad, people can be driving your car and you can get income or money for that so that you're not paying those bills while you're away. So we have a couple people that have joined us. Hi, Robin. Robin is in Cambodia, and my mom. Hi, Mom. So, we're just talking about how to reduce your bills in your home country so that you can take a career break and travel abroad for an extended period of time. So, we mentioned housing, we mentioned cars. Another thing that you can do is reduce your subscription services. So even before you go on this career break, even before you are leaving, like a year in advance, you can start reducing your bills, reduce your services, reduce your housing bills, reduce your other bills so that this way when you go abroad, there's not this financial stress at home with your local bills. And wholesale shopping. So the more you can reduce your bills in your home country, the more you're able to save up to be able to take that career break and travel abroad. Another thing that you want to do is reduce your debt. So if you have any debt that you're paying, that could be consumer debt, like credit card debt, that could be car loans, that could be student loans. If you can pay off your debt before you go on your career break, then you're not financially stressed while you're on your career break and you can relax or, do whatever it is that you wanted to do. Focus on your hobbies, focus on travel. But if you can free up some of those bills stateside or your home country, then that will allow you to have a more enjoyable experience when you're doing your career break. So that's one thing to think about is your bills in your home country. The next thing that you need to think about is the bills while you're traveling. So what I would recommend is you plan out what you want to do. So plan out how long of a break do you want to take? Is it going to be 30 days? Is it going to be 2 months? Is it going to be 3 months? Is it going to be 6 months, a year? Plan out how much time you want to take. And then once you know how much time you're taking, then you need to see how much is that going to cost you? What are the flights going to cost? What is the lodging going to cost? What about transportation while you're in this other country or countries? So, flights from and between countries, or trains between countries, or whatever you're planning on doing while you're taking this career break. Plan and figure out in advance before you even go how much do you think that's going to cost. Then once you have your budget, or how much it's going to cost you, then you can set aside money periodically to be able to meet that goal. So if you think this trip is going to cost $6,000 or $10,000, you can say, okay, I'm going to save $800 a month until I have the money, and then I'm going to go on this career break. So the first and most important step is to plan how much will that cost. Another thing that people are doing in order to reduce the bills in that country where you're going to is to do house sitting. So instead of paying for hotels, or instead of paying for Airbnb, people are house sitting. So we have people like Stephanie Perry that house sits, and it's just where you are watching someone's house for them. Maybe they are on vacation for 4 months or 4 weeks, and they have pets. And so they need you to watch their pets, walk the dog, feed the cat, and also watch their home. So that could be a way of reducing your bills while you're on this career break if you're doing something like house sitting. We have a couple people join. Feel free to say hey so I know who's here. Another thing you can do to plan your career break is see how you can use miles and points to be able to pay for some of these expenses while you're taking this career break. So if you're estimating that this career break is going to cost $10,000, can you use points and miles for some of the flights, and then maybe it's only going to cost $8,000? Can you use points to be able to stay at an Airbnb or a hotel? And so then it reduces your cost. So some of the things to think about when you're planning for how much this career break is going to cost. And another thing you can do while you're planning for this career break is start avenues for online income. So, how can you create additional streams of income? So, while you are away, you may not be able to work your current job, but if you can create additional streams of income now before you take your career break, then that money could help you while you're on your career break. So, you can do things like renting out a property, or YouTube can be an online source of income, or just anything that you can think of that you can do online or remotely. You can create that business now so that when you're on your career break, you have at least some money coming in addition to the savings that you put aside. Okay, and the next thing that you need to think about is your employer. So you have your bills that are local. So, how are you going to pay those bills? Can you reduce it as much as possible? And then you have your bills in the country where you're staying. So, your housing in the new country. And then you have your employer. So I think that this is like one of the areas that has people the most concerned or thinking, what do I do or what do I tell my employer or how do you even go about this? So it really depends on your situation. There are going to be different options for different people. So some people, they can just take paid time off. So they have vacation time or they have you know, paid time that they can take. There are people who have like hundreds of hours in vacation time and they just don't use it. So we have someone that joined here. Hi, good morning, lovely things. Thank you for joining us. So they have hundreds of hours in vacation time and they're just scared to use it. Go ahead and use it. Like plan your break. So plan to use your time, save so that you can have funds during this break, and then do what you can locally to reduce your expenses so that you're not financially stressed. So that's one way that you can get time off is just using your paid time. But some people don't have paid time. So I know there are people that have voluntary time off. It's unpaid leave, VTO, similar to PTO, but unpaid, that you can use that for extended travel. So you have people where the company is totally fine with you taking weeks off to be able to take that career break that you need. And if that's not an option, VTO or PTO is not an option, maybe you're on a contract. There are a lot of employees who are contract based. They might have an annual contract or a shorter term contract. Think about maybe not renewing that contract and taking some time in between those two contracts, between the one ending and the next one starting again. Take some time to go on your career break. Or if you're not a person that works on contracts and you don't have any vacation time, go through your employee handbook or maybe talk to your HR person. You might have opportunities for leave, like a sabbatical or like unpaid leave or various other things. There are companies and organizations which allow up to 2 years paid leave. So we have Lindsay that joined us. Hey, Lindsay. She says, good afternoon. Happy hump day. Hump day. And career breaks for all. Yes. So we need to normalize taking career breaks. I know women who have taken a year or two off, and it's just not really spoken about among like socially. People don't really talk about how did they do it? How did they save for that? How did they transition back into the workforce? So these are things that we need to talk to each other about. So unpaid leave might be something that you can do. So you talk to your employer, they might have an option for sabbatical, or they might have an option for you to return to school. And then you can use that time for extended travel while you're taking remote classes or online classes. So there might be that opportunity. I just had someone on the show, on the channel last week, Danica Nelson, and she was telling us about her career break and her experiences. And she said that she worked really hard for a few months and she made sure that her employer knew that she was valuable, that she was doing a lot of work for the company, and she just asked them for time off. So she made herself so valuable that they agreed to give her 6 months off. So when she told me that, I was like, wow, 6 months? That's amazing. 6 months that you get to go and live your dreams or whatever it is that you have planned for yourself. And imagine the security and the stress free experience knowing that you're going to be able to go back to your same employer. So these are conversations that you can have with your employer about how you can take these time off to get your career break. And if all of those things don't work out, you can always resign and look for new employment when you return from your break. If you return, you might go on career break and just not come back. So it just depends on how important this goal is to you. How important is it to you to take time off, to take a break, to relax, and to slow down? Think about how long is our working life. It's like from 20-ish to 67, 65, 70. So it could be 45, 50 years. 45 or 50 years you could be working. Why not take a year off? Or why not take even 2 months? There are people who have started working when they graduated college or when they turned 18 and never stopped. They never stopped until retirement. And as humans, we're just not designed to be go, 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 go. We're just not designed that way. Nothing in our biology suggests that we are supposed to work until the end of time. Even with like sleep, we have built in periods of rest, and 2 weeks often isn't enough. And in the US, people don't even take their 2 weeks all together. It's just like a long weekend here, a week there. When I was in corporate, no one, absolutely no one, took all 2 weeks at the same time. It was just so unheard of. And there was so much of a thought of, what are these people going to do while I'm not here? Like, how is the office going to survive? And your office will survive without you. Your job will survive without you. And if you have, for example, a sabbatical or unpaid leave, then you are guaranteed, like it's in your contract, it's guaranteed that your spot will be there when you return. So why not take advantage? Why not take advantage of the benefits that they are giving, that the company or the organization is giving? If the company is giving you 20 days a year, why not take it all at once and go on a career break? If the company is giving you the opportunity for VTO, why not take it? And for a lot of people, the answer to that is finances. And so what you have to do is just plan. You have to plan in the front, on the front end. And it could take you a year, it could take you 2 years. It might even take you 3 years to reduce your bills stateside, to figure out a source of online income, to start a business, to have multiple streams coming in, to save up money, to get your employer to agree. It might take years to get all of those things done, but it's worth it. Like, it's worth it to take the time and take the steps to be able to get to a place where you can take a career break. So we have lovely things. Says that she saved up to take a 3-month career break starting next month. Not quite a year, but I'm so looking forward to it. 3 months is a long time. And it's more time than a lot of people ever take until they retire. So I read a book and it was called The 4 Hour Work Week, and it's by Tim Ferriss. And he talks about some of these principles, but he doesn't call it a career break. He calls it mini retirement. And he says that these people who are going on mini retirements are the new rich. That's what he calls it. Like, this is the life and the lifestyle that people are aspiring to. So this class of people who are taking these mini retirements is the new rich. And he talks so much about how you don't need millions of dollars to be able to take 3 months off. You don't need millions of dollars to be able to stop working for a period of time. You can go to like Thailand and get an apartment for, you know, $1,000 a month. There are countries, Vietnam, Cambodia. We have people here on living in Cambodia. There are countries where $1,000 will get you a nice place, and then you can budget another $1,000 for food, transportation. So $2,000 a month, and times 3 months, $6,000. It is more realistic and attainable than some of us think. You don't need millions or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. $10,000 will be plenty for a career break. And so it comes down to how long will it take to save up 10,000 or 5,000 or $6,000. And maybe you don't need to save up the whole thing if you can create an additional source of income. So if you can create an income stream that will pay you while you're gone, or that you can do remotely, or even if you can find a remote job, then that's not a career break, but it's still, time away, then you wouldn't even need to save up that much because you have this stream coming in that can augment your savings. So the other thing to think about, besides your employer and how exactly you're going to find this time off and your bills locally, your bills over there, the other thing to consider is just logistical stuff like travel insurance. So I'm going on a career break for 2 months, but only a month I'm going to be in Europe. And I purchased travel insurance just because if anything happens, if I need to go to the emergency room, or God forbid, anything happens, with the travel insurance, I can be reimbursed for whatever medical fees that I pay. So that's something to think about when you're planning your career break, is how are you going to still have medical insurance in this other place. The other thing that you can plan for and think about ahead of time is your cell phone. So there are companies which allow for international plans, and you can have your same phone that you use in the US and you can take it abroad for a month or 2 or 3, and they have an international plan, so it's not going to charge you roaming for every minute and every data gigabyte that you use. So that's something to definitely look into before you leave, and create a plan for that, whether that's to get a phone in the country you're going to, or to get an international plan with the company you already have. Another thing besides the insurance, the phones, is bank accounts. So if you're going away for a month or 3 months in some cases or more, I don't think it's advisable to pull out money for your entire stay. So like if you're here stateside and you go to the bank and you're pulling out euros for 3 months, that to me sounds risky and dangerous. So what I did is I looked into Charles Schwab. They have a checking account, and this checking account has zero transaction fees, international transaction fees. And also, you can withdraw money from any ATM in the world, and the company Charles Schwab will not charge you, as well as reimburse you for the fees of that ATM. You know, when you're at the ATM, they charge you themselves. So you get fees from the ATM and also fees from the company sometimes. So they'll reimburse ATM fees. There's no fees from Charles Schwab itself. So this way, when you're in another country and you need cash for some reason, you can just withdraw instead of taking a lump sum of cash with you. So that's something to investigate and something to look into so that you can have that debit card to travel with. Let's see here. Another thing to think about is visas for long-term stays. So some countries will allow you to stay in their country for up to 3 months without a visa. I think the UK is changing that, or maybe they have already changed that, and then Europe is changing that as well, but not yet. So if you have an immediate trip, you should be okay. But this is something to look into when you're planning for your career break. Other things that you can plan for are lounges in the airport so that you have convenience. So theoretically, if you're traveling for a month, you may be in and out of airports a number of times. So you may have a credit card that comes with lounge access. I don't think it's necessary to purchase access just for your trip, but if you already have a card, then you might as well utilize all of the benefits that you already have. And then speaking of credit cards, just like with your debit card, there are credit cards that have zero international transaction fees. So that if you go to a restaurant or if you go to a souvenir shop or you anywhere, if you're on the bus, anywhere that you are, you can use it and not be charged by your credit card company. So make sure that you have a travel card, and usually the travel cards don't have international fees. So if you have joined, be sure to say hey and let me know what you guys are doing to plan for a career break. Otherwise, that is all that I had to share. So if anybody has anything, I will read them. But that's it. So I'm planning my career break. These are all the things that I've learned and done. Let's see here. The UK now requires a visa. It's valid for 2 years or when your passport expires, whichever comes first. And let's see, it costs $10. So something to think about if you're going to the UK, you do need a visa. And I think the process they recommend you apply 30 days in advance. So something to think about there. And I will see you guys next time. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. If you are not new, then thank you for joining, and I'll see you later.